From the beginning of the 1800s, chess players embodied the idea of romanticism in chess, a playing style which more or less looks like sack, sack, mate. Although this led to some gorgeous games, a man by the name of Wilhelm Steinitz quickly understood the vast downsides that come with playing such reckless games. And towards the late 1800s, the first world champion Wilhelm Steinitz indeed himself represented a new playing style which changed the game forever: positional play. In the video today, we are going to be looking at one of the first games that Wilhelm Steinitz played in such a positional manner that really illustrated how powerful this playing style was. You're watching the Chess Geek channel. We upload every other day, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Let's jump straight into the game. This was played in 1873, and Wilhelm Steinitz, with the black pieces, decided not to go for the very tempting quick attacks and quick initiative and play more slowly, more positionally. And that led to some great success. And in this game specifically, you'll see that black absolutely destroys his opponent. The opening was very natural, both players simply developing their pieces. And in this game, Wilhelm Steinitz decided to go for this h6 g5 expansion. Now, although often this is thought of as a very tactical, aggressive idea, kind of throwing the pawns at the opponent, he decides to use this pawn structure in a more positional manner. And what you'll see is that this knight later maneuvers towards the f4 square, which is now a huge stronghold, and that is what this g5 pawn supports. So it does not necessarily support an attack, which is what it used to be thought of, but it also has some positional ideas that Wilhelm Steinitz beautifully displays in this game. We have bishop g4 and knight to e2, and here you can already see the huge disparity. Players at the time didn't understand the importance of good positional concepts. For example, pawn structure, and here they let Wilhelm Steinitz simply take this knight and ruin the opponent's pawn structures. Now, in the actual game, Wilhelm Steinitz decided to first go queen to e7, but very soon take, and you can already see how he's trying to punish these pawns. Now, how can you do that? Well, one of the things you notice is that with the pawn no longer on g2, it doesn't have the capability of going to g3 to control this f4 square, so this square that I was talking about becomes even more powerful, and therefore, in just a couple of moves, after first castling, getting the king safe, very nice, we have takes, castles, and knight to h5, exactly what you would expect, the knight heading towards f4. You can also consider to perhaps take the bishop in some cases, because even in the case of takes, this other knight can maneuver towards this square. So you can see this positional ideas coming together in the game. We have queen to f6. It's already becoming very difficult to defend this pawn here. In fact, super difficult. The move knight to g1 is really, really sad. In fact, in the game, white decided to, very much in the spirit of romanticism, sacrifice and just smash open the center, but this does not work out because in the end of all of the trades, when the dust settles, we are up one pawn. But I think what comes next is even more impressive, because after the move king to c2, in this sort of position, players of the time were very much tempted by this idea perhaps of going b5, b4, maybe sacrificing a knight, swinging the queen over, and trying to go for checkmate at all costs. But Wilhelm Steinitz basically does the complete opposite. He goes knight to d8, retreating the knight, but in a way which is far more fruitful, because now the knight heads towards e6, where it can come to f4 and take control of this outpost. In some cases, if we can get the move c4, it can also come to d4, and that's actually what happens later in the game. You see the move c6, we have b5, and eventually c4 from white. Wilhelm Steinitz see this positional inaccuracy and immediately begins bringing the knight in to this beautiful centralized outpost. And you can already see that the black pieces, the black army, is beginning to take over, not because of some tactical brilliancies, but because the pieces are far better placed than their counterparts. Queen to e3, rook to h1, again a small improving move, getting the rook over to the open h-file, swinging it to h2. We now have b4, solidifying and getting rid of the tension as to keep the knight here solidified forever as a very strong piece. And after queen to e3, queen to f6, the game continues further. We have g4 smashing open, as always, Positional play is always combined with tactical elements. You cannot win solely off of having a good knight in the center. In the end, there has to be some tactical win, but very often these tactical wins come directly from having better positional understanding and having a better position overall. And therefore, with the knight strong, with the rook strong, with the queen strong, much better than all of these three counterparts, something begins to give. G4 after takes, we have rook takes f2, the bishop gets away from danger, but we don't care. We still go rook to f1, sacrificing the bishop. If you were to take, then queen takes f1 would be deadly because you lose the rook in this case, or otherwise you're just going to lose even more material. And so going back in the game after rook to f1, white gave away the queen. But okay, it doesn't take a genius to realize that this position is completely game over, and in fact, white resigned after taking the piece. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a game which proved to everyone watching that this tactical mess of just throwing your pawns at the opponent, and again, the very critical moments right here, instead of just throwing your pawns at your opponent and trying to create a mess on the board, you go for a more structured, more even principled approach by rerouting the knight, playing positionally, and that could lead to some great success. This game really changed the way that the best players in the game looked at chess, and hopefully it doesn't only change their mindset, but also yours as you're watching right now. Thank you guys for watching this video. Subscribe if you're new around here, like this video if you learned something new from it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.